Welcome to Secura Law Experience. I'm Luis Elizalde, founder of Secura Law. I'm here with...
Stephanie de la Millar.
Hey, welcome.
Hi. Welcome back.
Yeah, last time was with only Eduardo, now only with you. It's good.
We're taking turns.
No, but it's good. It's good. Sometimes it's good because, like we said last time, some episodes we have full house, and
I
now
know.
it's kind of good to...
Barry.
Yeah, I'm back to the basics, as Eduardo says. Today, I think this episode we are gonna talk about the appraisal, this new law. We talked about that in a previous episode. However, in that moment was our opinion because we didn't have exactly everything that we know right now. So this is more legal stuff, more certainty. No more. It's with certainty that we are gonna give this information. So I don't know if you want to start.
Yes, I mean, I would like to start about facts regarding our development as a state. Quintana Roo, I think, is the seventh most developed state in Mexico.
Okay.
So I think that it's that is a thing that was remarkable and one of the biggest matters or facts that attract the attention of the government, saying, okay, the industry of developing, it's actually getting better. So we have to do something to know that we are regulating it properly for their eyes, of course. And in connection with the government, the federal government, and connected to the state, led to get more taxes, collect more taxes from the people in general, and also to provide legal certainty according to the explanation of the amendment of the law, provide more certainty to the buyers about what is the real value of the property. That being said, I think that was the social reasons that are connected to the legal result of the amendment of the law.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. I think the most important object or purpose of these changes of this amendment it was to collect more taxes. That's the reality, But of course, not only I want to collect taxes because just because it's because they want to create a really good and very crystal clear way to make real estate transaction in Quintana Roo. From my point of view, it's good. We are still in the learning curve for both sides, for the government and for us. Because still, first, they don't have the bylaws right now from that law. It's going to be by the calculation, or the law said that it's going to be 180 days after August 1st, working days. So that's around April 15, something like that. So they are working with a federal law or norm that is almost the same to how to...
The standards, no?
Run the test for the standard for the appraisals. I don't know. Do you think it's good or it's gonna make?
I mean, it's good for the state, for the finance health of the state, of course, because it means more taxes. What in case, for example, of Tulum has to become more developing in the streets, everything. I think, again, our duty as a society, part of the community, whether you are foreign or are Mexican, to be very pending about that they are doing something with this more collection of taxes. That is for one part. As a personal, as an individual, I think they are cutting our freedom of commercialized things because they are trying to say what will has to be the value of the property. So for me, that it's violation of right that you have as an individual to commerce your properties.
Yeah, and put the price at whatever you want. That totally makes sense. But I think it's more about to take advantage of that freedom, and that's the reason that maybe they say that enough is enough, because of course you have a property that by the pass of the years you know the market value is around, let's say, 10 million pesos. And hey, yes, I know that it's 10 million pesos, but I'm gonna sell it in 5 million pesos. You know,
Yes.
of course, there is liberty, or there has to be liberty to choose how much is the price of your property to sell. But if at the end you take advantage in order to avoid the payment of taxes, of course the government is gonna say, "Hey, that's enough. You have the liberty.
But you are taking.
You take advantage of that.
Yes.
That's enough." That's the reason. I think the real reason also for the appraisal is not new law. That's another fact. It's not a new law. This law is really old. I think it's around 2003 that the start. But the amendment from the, how can you say it, by our government or governor, yeah, our governor on July 24th of the 2024, it was the decree, what was the number? 258 is the one that decide or make the change of different law. Change, amendment, and take some articles from different law. So with that, the most important was the law of the appraisals in the state of Quintana Roo that make the most changes. And in that changes, all this appraisal has tax purposes. That means that you have appraisal guys with a license or approved by the government to do this kind of appraisals, and everything is gonna be in a system. It's not like, yes, I'm gonna present or submit the documents. No, everything is gonna be through a system, website, everything online, and the authority is gonna review everything online. So I think that they did it correctly. As I said, of the learning curve, they still have some issues about to understand. Like the example that I always gave is when we have a client or we submit an appraisal and they were asking for the CFDI or the invoice, and that property doesn't have an invoice because it was before the amendment of that law. So that little thing that is the
Yes.
learning curve for both, for sellers and for the government.
Yes, I think that right now they are very square-minded because, yeah, exactly, the amendment is very new, so they are as kind of lost as we are, and trying to find the pathway in order to fulfill the transparency and the accuracy that they are pursuing. And at the same time, because of this square-minded, they are not thinking beyond, that, for example, okay, I made a lot of improvements in my unit, but I don't have invoices, official ones, because whatever. But I'm showing you
Run appraisal.
that actually I made them, and I can show you pictures before and after, and accordingly to what I have seen, they are hesitating about all of that because they want to be very precise about documents. But again, a value of the property, it's not only about how much square meters does it has or the location. Sometimes comes something else that it's not very tangible. I think that they have to, in a daily basis, to adjust their criteria in order to be more open.
To understand that every transaction, every appraisal is different. They cannot do like if they have an appraisal of Playa Car of one house, and then the other day and the next day it has another appraisal again from Playa Car, they use the same criteria. They have to read everything, and they are very clear in the law. In this new amendment, they establish that the appraisal guy or the specialist has to submit all the documents and proof of all of these amendments to the property. If they are submitting everything, for example, the first one, they submit the document, but they submit like just the appraisal. They don't put picture. They don't establish anything. Of course, the criteria is gonna be more strict. But if the second one, submit everything, pictures, documents,
Legal
previous,
support.
yeah, everything, and they establish the same criteria of the one before, don't make sense. So they have to consider every transaction different. Maybe it's gonna take a little more time that is taking, but it's gonna be the certainty that everybody is looking for. So I'm not saying that it's bad and all the criteria and all the appraisals are bad, but I still we are in the learning curve. Still not happening, or is not even 180 working days with these new amendments. So I'm pretty sure by July, August this year, after 1 year, we are gonna be good. Everything is gonna be move smoothly. So let's see what happens. But what you can say about this amendment that really make a huge difference?
It makes a huge difference because, I mean, accordingly to what I have seen and I have learned regarding all the transaction about being every step of the way has to be very planned. So we know exactly, okay, how much is the value of the transaction? Okay, does the unit has all the documents that the appraisal will need? Okay, yes or no? Okay, then we have to prepare all the documents that we will need in order to submit a professional appraisal that we know that will have good result. And that requires a lot of planning
And time.
from the seller, and also I will say flexibility from both parties to know that sometimes they have a purchase price, but the government has a different opinion, and we have to embrace that because it's the law. They are providing this amount, and that will be the base of the tax. Now, what tax? No,
Exactly.
that will be the second question. This law has two consequences. Well, actually, three. The cellular tax, that is the capital gains in the state. The acquisition tax that goes to the municipality, and also for the property tax.
Okay, yeah, makes
No?
sense. Yeah.
So this new value will have implication in these three different taxes. So buyer and seller have to be very open to embrace this value, and that will be the value that they will be taxed on.
And you know what? It's not like has to be like a surprise, because of course he's in a state, but this kind of law is already on Merida or in Yucatan. Very similar. In Spain, it's the same. So it's not like something that is totally against the law, because it's in the law. But
It's legal.
exactly. So at the end of this, the benefit or something positive that I look in this law is the time frame. Okay, we have to work a little more. But that's the reason they hire us. But to slow things, what I'm trying to say is that one benefit that I see is that used to be the closings. I remember at the beginning was 90 days that they gave you to have a closing. Then the war started moving so fast that in some point we have closing in maybe 2 weeks. If there was an assignment of rights, you have all the pre-closing document. It was crazy fast. So, of course, you are making an investment of a new home, and in a very short period of time with a lot of money, of course it's gonna be a mistake. So in that moment or during that time it was very crazy. Right now with this appraisal, we are taking a little more time, and I will say that we have to be aware that seller and buyer resale is gonna take around minimum 45 days to 90 days. Why? Because of the appraisal.
Exactly.
Because we need the document. We need to show the authority the reality, because sometimes you make, or our clients that are foreigners, American, Canadians, they bought a property. They put a lot of money on Home Depot to make improvements to that property. They forgot that in Mexico we need invoice with the tax ID and everything related
to
the
the
property and the person. They don't understand that. So they say, hey, I keep all my tickets. And that's not, they don't have valid for tax purposes. So to gather all the information, if they have pictures, that will be good. If they don't have, we have to show through the appraisal. The expert has to establish all of that in the appraisal. So it's gonna take time. So if you are trying to rush your investment, your property, not make sense in both sides, buyer and seller. For the buyer, make more time to review all the documents and to be sure that the process is going good, everything legal. And for the seller, it's also good, because at the end, it's going to be a benefit in the taxes.
Yes.
They're not going to pay too much taxes. I'm not saying that they're not going to pay. They're going to pay less taxes.
Yes,
because
be prepared to
Yeah,
pay. Unless you
exactly.
have the exemption and you are within the limit. That is the only way to not pay capital gain taxes.
Exactly. If you use the right of is your residence. But in other hand, I think that's good for the time frame. It's a positive thing. As you said, the three things that is going to affect. The most important that I think no one is aware is the acquisition tax. That could happen. What could happen? Because if you are selling your property and the buyer say, okay, I'm going to pay $300,000. But the government say, okay, yes, you can sell it for 300. But
And buy 300.
yeah, but the property, the real value of the property is 350. So you as a buyer are gonna have a capital gain taxes for acquisition. Why? Because you are acquiring by the government. You are having a benefit because you are acquiring a property lower the market value. So you have a benefit of 50,000. The base or the percentage of the capital gain in acquisition is 20%. So if it's 50,000, 20% of that is 10,000 in capital gains for acquisition. If you pay that, that's also good. You pay that capital gain taxes. In that moment, you are gonna have an invoice for the value of 350. Doesn't not if you pay 300
that you didn't pay.
that you didn't pay. So you have a 80% of benefit in that moment if you pay the capital gain taxes of the acquisition. Something that maybe is hard at the beginning, but in the future, it's going to save you a lot of money, and you are going to get that money back with some benefits and without payment of taxes in capital gain for selling. Yes.
Yes.
That's important.
It is. It is paying 10,000 to have a gain of 50,000.
Exactly.
I think it's a good point. Of course, that no one wants to pay capital gains up front, but you have to realize that then, according to the experts, to a professional appraiser, you are getting more of what you are paying in reality. And the
Good one,
government,
good one, yeah.
no, it's recognizing that. So you have not only the benefit of having an expert with this estimate, but also the seal of the state saying, yes, your property is 350 instead of the 300 that you are paying. So
Exactly.
you become a winner. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. From my point of view, it's good.
Yes.
Just to consider that at the end. That is possible to happen. So at the end, like to be brief, this law is changing how we make real estate transaction right now in Quintana Roo. What else you will say? It's changing.
The value of the work of the appraisers, I
yes,
will say.
Also
Yes,
that.
to give the importance that they have, they will be more regulated. They are actually becoming kind of an authority. That's what have seen. I mean, we still waiting for the bylaws of how they're
They're gonna do it.
how
process.
they gonna work. But I mean, I think it's now giving more value, and it's not only okay. I'm paying because a lot of clients were saying that I'm paying an appraisal. What for? Well, now you have a reason to pay it.
Totally agree. So at the end, it's not something bad. It's something that is gonna be good in the future. Maybe we cannot see it right now, but for sure it's gonna be something good. And I hope that you have some questions because we are here to answer it. Have a
Yes.
great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.